Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, collectors of all ages, welcome back to AussieVerse, where tonight we are discussing the horror comics. Welcome! Here we go.
Well, that was a bit of an interruption from F2
Oh,
right there.
yes, no. Hey, he's finally come.
Sorry,
Did you
guys.
see that guy?
Yeah, I had to kick him out and take his jumper. But that was really freaking creepy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Welcome back to AussieVerse, where we are so close to our 400 subscriber giveaway. You can almost taste it. So if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. And if you are not new to the channel and it's your first video, welcome aboard. If you are a member, remember you do have an opportunity to get a $100 Amazon gift card once we reach that 400 subscriber milestone. You can hit us up on Instagram at AussieVerse_Comx, where you can also hit up our editor and graphic designer, A51_designs. How are you guys going? Are you ready?
We ready?
Never been more ready in my life.
Fan-freaking-tastic. All right, I'm going to kick it off this one. So we are here to discuss horror comic book recommendations. And my first one today is going to be one that I have all 5 volumes of, and I'm currently reading the 5th volume. Haven't finished it yet, but I highly recommend it. It was given to me, sold to me for a very good price from OmniBeau, who I'm very, very grateful for, and that is The Goon. Have you guys heard about this?
Yeah, I have. Because I asked you about it in the whole video and stuff like that. But yeah, before that I didn't know, but it looks pretty cool.
It is. So it starts off, the first volume is incredibly wacky, like really, really out there wacky. And it's almost to the point where you start thinking to yourself, I don't know if I can really read 5 volumes of such wackiness. But then it changes where it's always still wacky, but it gets a lot more depth in it, and there's a lot more emotion in it, and it becomes a lot darker later on. And it's basically about a character whose name is Goon, and that's his best friend, who I've gone Frankie. I think I've got the blank of what his name is. But anyway, they are set in an era that seems to be like 1930s or so. It never actually tells you the era, but they talk like they're straight out of gangster movies. And they are in a town that absorbs or attracts all the negativity and the horror that is in life. So you have it's a perfectly normal thing to be walking down the streets and see zombies and a guy's a werewolf. You go play poker at the pub and one of the players is a giant spider. You have witches. You have just all sorts of crap in there. While at the same time, this man, Goon, is running his own gang for dominance of the streets. And he's constantly fighting this master zombie guy who's in control of all the zombies. But it is absolutely freaking hilarious, man. Let's see if I can show you some stuff here. First of all the covers are just amazingly painted, like that, right? Like they're really, really good. There's another one. But let's see.
Yeah, cool. That's some pretty good art, man. And he kind of looks like a smoother version of The Thing. Yeah.
But check out that panel there. You say a spaceship is going to crash here? And you saying the spaceship is a freakish one-eyed alien? And you ask that the alien is the intergalactic crime boss bent on enslaving our world? oh. And then he goes, then he punches the freaking seal. That's about enough out of you. You know?
Oh, poor seal.
Let's see if I can just show you one more thing here. There's even a crossover with Hellboy.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really cool. So yeah, I highly recommend getting this. If you can somehow track down the library editions, I'd suggest getting those because even I would love those. But these are very much attainable at comic book stores and bookstores still. They usually go for about $40-50 each. But yeah, very, very highly recommended. If you want to laugh as well as be around horror, then this is the book for you.
Okay, my first pick here is a horror manga. This one almost made it into the last reading recommendations. I saved it for this one. It's called Uzumaki. It's all about a town infected by spirals and how spirals are scary. So there's a nice little chapter in this one. It's called Jack in a Box. It's about a kid who's playing with a Jack in a Box and eventually he becomes one. Like look at this art.
Man, that's creepy as.
Yeah.
And then there's another one in here where it's about a kid who is being late to class every day. And he's getting later and later and later to class until eventually he turns into a snail.
I have got to get that. I thought I already had it, but I've got Tommy and Gaio from him, not Uzumaki.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite one of his works that I've read, and $30 as well.
Yeah.
Nice, like it.
Beauty.
So my first book that I'm going to highlight, obviously, if people have watched this channel before on a few other episodes, you will know that my favorite, or least hero-ish character in the main big two is Swamp Thing. So I can't go past without putting up Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run.
Oh,
Saga of the Swamp Thing. So written in the 80s, very, very weird. It is very weird. You do have to be in a certain type of open your mind mood to read this. And if you're not, don't read it. Wait till another night. But in saying that, if you are in one of those moods where you go, hey, lay it on me, Alan Moore, this is definitely, you'll get everything you need out of this. It's fantastic. One of my favorite stories is just why I became such a big Swamp Thing fan. There's I reckon about 8 or at least 8 or 7 issues. They are just one and done issues. So they're just a creepy sort of horror story with the Swamp Thing being in kind of the background. Like there's one where there's 2 couples. They go to a haunted mansion and it's haunted by, I can't remember what it is, but something by the 1940s. And everybody starts dying and stuff like that. And then eventually people just go, and Swamp Thing's just in the background observing it, just going, what's going on here? But he doesn't say anything or anything like this. It's just more about the horror story. And there's a really cool twist at the end of that issue too. So yeah, there's a lot of little stories in there. And then there's the main story. And yeah, really enjoy this. It's 6 books all up of these trades. Yeah, if you haven't, try book 1 and yeah, go from there because it definitely gets better. Trust me. But yeah, there's some weird bits in it, so just be prepared for it. So yeah.
Did you get the box set?
I did not. I did it by trade.
Cool. I want to get
It's a
the
seminal run as well, so it's always in print and easy to get.
Yeah.
I want to get the 3 absolutes.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's my first suggestion.
Sweet. My next one I'm going to be really quick with because I feel like I've just been talking about this for the last 100 videos. But in case you haven't seen those videos, I highly recommend Gideon Falls. This is the best horror comic that I've read, maybe ever. if not ever, then for years and years and years. It is about a individual who has an obsession with looking through trash, and he doesn't know why. He knows it's not okay. He's seeing a shrink about it, and he keeps picking up these little bits out of the trash, like nails and bits of wood, and he's not really sure what's going on there. It goes back into the past, and to cut a long story short, without spoiling anything, there is visions of this black barn. These people are getting visions of the black barn. They aren't sure why they're getting visions of the black barn. Meanwhile, this person that has this obsession with going through the trash is realizing that the parts of the trash that he's getting are parts of the black barn. And it goes into a completely different direction than you would think. It is 2 books in total, and the second volume is releasing any day now. I've pre-ordered it. And the art is just absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. That's real cool.
The reason why it's showing like that is, let's just say there's different... No, you know what? I'm not even going to finish that sentence because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But it seems very similar to what you'd find, like the normal scenes like these. The art's very similar to what you'd see in like Brubaker's Criminal and things like that. And then you've also got that. And the villain, if I can show you him just quickly.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Creepy.
And that's my second recommendation.
For my second recommendation, it actually recently got an anime adaptation, and it's Chainsaw Man.
Oh, I want to read and watch this.
So Chainsaw Man, it's about this kid named Denji. He has this pet devil named Paquita, and essentially Denji dies and he merges with Paquita, and he becomes this... He has like this thing that he revs on his chest, and he becomes the Chainsaw Man. And so it's an action manga with a horror twist. Like, look at this art. Look
I've
at
heard
that.
good things about it.
It's so good. Like, it's got a bit of everything in it. It's very funny. The art is so good. Like, very sketchy. There's a bit of everything in there for everyone.
Yeah, sweet. Mate, I'm going to have to get both of yours. That's for sure. Oh, I'm going to get that Swamp Thing. Yeah, this is great. All right.
Yeah, cool, man. I like it. So my next one is obviously still sticking with DC because I love DC's horror side. So I'm going to go with The Demons, Hell's Hitman by Garth Ennis.
Garth Ennis. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. This is pretty much just horror. I think it's sort of the back. I've read this a long time ago. So the background story is, in bits of it, is there's 2 angels who don't want to do the dirty work, so they hire Etrigan to go down and punish and kill these people, and he does them quite violently occasionally, and stuff like that. So, and you get this other dude that's introduced into this, which I kind of felt was cool, and I've never seen it in comics since, and he's simply just called Hitman. That's his name. I can't remember his human name, but that was his name, and he had like a cool trench coat sort of thing and glasses, like 80s style, but still cool. And he eventually got powers too, where he couldn't die, so him and Edgerton sort of teamed up and killed these massive mobs. And there was a major demon who was trying to control those mobs, and they didn't realize that till the end. And when Etrigan gets to him, it gets ugly. He makes him pay. Hey?
Does he rhyme the whole time?
He does. Not the whole time in this one, but he does occasionally. I do have another Etrigan series where he does rhyme the whole time, but that only goes for 6 issues. This one is like 10 or 12 issues, so he doesn't rhyme through all of them, but he does sometimes. But
that's actually good because I'm not a fan of the whole rhyming constantly. So that just makes me want to read that even more then.
you can do it. But yeah, that's my second recommendation.
Beauty. I don't have another recommendation, but I am going to just show another 2 books quickly because they're books that I've bought, obviously, but I haven't read them yet. But I'm sure they will be great because all I've heard is good things about them. A lot of people bought them, so therefore it must be good, right? That's the logic behind it. So first one is Razor Blades. And this is James Tynion, Something is Killing the Children, and Steve Fox. It's basically, monsters in the closet, bodies stuffed in washing machines, just different, I think, single issues of a horror story. And it's only 5 issues, but it's quite a thick book, so the issues must be quite big themselves.
Yeah, cool. James Tynion specializes in sort of horror sort of stuff. He was heavily in DC for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. And the other one that I want to show is, in case you're not into actual horror, but you do like, monsters and things like that, and you don't mind a bit of old school comics, I would suggest grabbing the Monsters Omnibus by Marvel, because this has a whole bunch of one and done comics. You can just read, have a laugh, have a good old time with, and also see the very first appearance of Groot. And obviously, because it's so old, you can imagine the art is back to Kirby days. So yeah,
Nothing wrong with Kirby.
nothing wrong at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bought
Yeah.
Okay, this is the last one I've got. And speaking of James Tynion, Something is Killing the Children.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
pulled that out myself.
Now, the intriguing part about this book is that it's essentially about a kid who was accused of murdering his friends, but in actual fact, it was just this invisible monster that no one else can see that did it. And they introduced this monster hunter who hunts this monster. And I read this whole thing in one sitting when I got it. Really, really enjoyed it, especially the art by Werther Deladera. Like, really amazing stuff. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
And it's a nice solid indie as well.
There's 2 spin-offs, is there? House of Slaughter?
Yeah, there's 1 or 2.
I think there's 2.
Have you been reading Nice House on the Lake, Ryan, or not?
No.
I think that's really good too.
Yeah, I
That's
keep
by
saying
James Tynion.
Sweet.
Yeah, my last one too. So again, DC, but how can I leave out in the horror sort of section one of my men, Dead Men?
That's a cool cover.
Yeah, so this one is just like I think it was kind of a Black Label sort of one. It's not really a Dead Man story. It's sort of what's her name? Beatrice, her name is. So she buys a house with her fiance or whatever. There's obviously a haunted mansion, and because Dead Man goes along the ghost, he sort of comes across there and sort of she can see him, but nobody else can, and sort of thing. And so he tries to, connect with her, and she thinks she's going crazy, and so on and so on. And then there's a dark secret, just pure. It all happens in the house, the haunted mansion, and things go on. There's a ghost in there that wants revenge, And then they try and solve the mystery of why this ghost wants revenge. Dead Man and her together team up. And it was good. I think it's only 3 issues, which makes me believe that it was an oversized issues because it's still a pretty big book. But yeah, I enjoyed it as a Dead Man story. But as I said, if you pick this up, don't expect much of Dead Man in it. It's not that much, but it is a horror story and he's in it. So
Yeah, cool. That actually sounds cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we got. That is, our horror recommendations for 2022. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you next time. And don't forget, AussieVerse is always for life. And check out our sponsor, Comx, where you can find out anything you like about Australian comics, comic book stores, comic book creators, comic book artists.
Whoa,
whatever
hang
you
on.
want. You can buy 1 comic or you can buy 100, and it is a 1 flat shipping rate. And that is the selling point for me. So until then, catch you guys.
See you guys.
This show is sponsored by the Comx Shop. Check out comx.cx for all things Comx and find out what Comx is all about. Then head over to comx.shop to pick up a variety of Australian comics from multiple creators and publishers, all for 1 flat postage rate. And don't forget to check out the Comx channel on YouTube. We hope you enjoyed the show.